Hello, today we're doing a little bit more on Batman miniature game, and today we are looking at some magic. So this is the Book of Magic, which contains spells and the procedure for using magic, which is slightly different to other parts of the game. And magic can be quite powerful, and once one person starts to use magic, it can cause a bit of an arms race, because the magic effect ignores so many other defenses and buffs, and there's just automatic damages and controls and so on. So what we'll have a look at is a couple of characters that are magic wielders, and we'll run through casting a spell and look at some of the different types of magic spells that are on offer. Okay, so let's get rolling. So this is Zatanna, and as you can see, it looks very much like a normal Batman miniature card, with all the stats, the reputation, funding. But you'll also see a few special powers. You've got the magic power ability, and in Zatanna's case it's magic power 6. That's how many magic points she gets every turn. She can use Eldritch and Divination. Her Homo Magi allows her to gain +1 on her rolls for casting spells, and the Distort Magic allows her to choose a focal point within 4 inches and work as if that's the location that she's on. So she can shoot around corners or shoot from a different position. So they're the special magic abilities, and of course she's got her normal power that just uses her standard action counters. And this one over here is Enchantress. She's got magic power 5, and she has necromancy and occultism. So that allows them to use the spells from those schools of magic, and as it so happens, they're just over here. So these are the necromancy and occultism spells. So there's 4 of them, and they each cost magic points. So those magic points, the MP meaning magic points, just to confuse things. But those magic points is what she needs to cast, and you see every spell has a difficulty. So we'll run through that in a few moments, but in effect, 2d6 plus the willpower value has to get higher than the difficulty, or equal to or higher than the difficulty. Now it doesn't say anywhere that a double 1 is an auto fail or a double 6 is an auto success. That's important when we look at Zatanna's abilities just down here. So this is some of her work. And she's got an Eldritch Bolt that's very powerful but short range. And it's the force field that's interesting, because she's got a difficulty of 11 and her willpower is 8, and she gets +1. So meaning she always succeeds in casting her force field. And if they fail their roll for the spell, there's a modifier or a penalty of some sort. Casting force field, if you fail, the caster takes 2 damage and can't cast that spell. Each spell can cast once per activation to a maximum points of their magic power. Zatanna having 6 means she can throw a few points around. Enchantress on 5, similar sort of thing. So they're specialties based on the schools that each of the magic wielders have, and there's a number of different schools that provide extra effects. On top of the spells from that school, every school allows a once per game ability for modifying a dice roll or modifying an attribute value or something along those lines. But once you get to using magic wielders, you really need to know your character. This is a little bit more for the advanced players. You have to make sure that you know all of your special abilities and know how your spells are going to work. There are some spells that every spellcaster has on offer. These ones here. And every spellcaster gets to cast these spells. So as you can see, the Magic Bolt, it's a little bit less powerful than the Eldritch Blast or the Eldritch Bolt of Zatanna. It only does 2 blood, whereas her bolt does X magic points. Just refer to it as MP, perhaps that's easier. So when she casts, if she wants to do some serious damage, lay on some smack. As you can see, when casting this spell, the model must choose how many magic points to spend, up to 4, there's your limit. Target a model within 4 inches in line of sight. Target receives X blood, where X is the number of magic points. That's why magic is a little bit more powerful. It's causing damage without generally having to roll to hit in some cases. Some characters, like Zatanna, have a special. Something like this, which is her tropolette, or teleport. Everything Zatanna does is in backwards. Once per game, and so on. Place this model up to 16 from the starting position. It's important to know the difference between move and place. If it says move the character, it uses up all the movement. If it says, or is included in the movement. If it says place, then it doesn't take up the movement. It doesn't consider movement. However, anything that stops her from moving also stops her from casting teleport. So if for whatever reason she can't move, trapped, paralyzed, something, whatever, held, locked, hold, something, then she can't use her teleport either. So if we have a look at a spell, we can cast one. So if we take up some dice and we look at her Eldritch Bolt, it's always a good one. Throw in 4 magic points. Difficulty is 10 plus target's defense. And if her target's defense is 4, she needs to roll a 14 or higher. Getting a 7, plus her 8, plus an additional 1 for being Homo Magi. She's going to be very successful when it comes to casting spells. And Zatanna is one of the more powerful spellcasters in the game. Of course, the Enchantress is equally as powerful, just in a different way. Okay, so really the special areas of magic is that it happens during the activation. It's not like Speed Force where it's its own activation. This all happens whilst the character is activated. So you have to activate the character and then you can cast spells, move and perform normal functions and so on. The caveat being that every time you cast a spell, you can't cast that spell a second time during the round or during the activation. So she could cast that, she could cast that, and that's her 6 points. Then she could still move and attack and everything else. Spend 2 action counters to fire her pyrokinetic bolts, etc., etc. So magic is quite powerful in this game, which is fair enough because when we think about the power level that the Batman miniature game is at, that street level, we're looking at something where magic is a major balance upsetter. But there are as many bad guy magic as there is hero magic, which is good. But once someone starts bringing in some magic wielders, then it's very easy to get an arms race. There's talk of a new revision or a new edition of the Batman miniature game, which I suspect will be what's in here, plus what's in here, plus talking about cults, which is something special that's been recently added. You get special cult powers for the number of cult points you generate every round, but that's something we'll discuss at another time. Have a quick look through the magic book because it's really cool. Looking forward to getting some of these other characters that they talk about in here. Phantom Stranger. We all know Constantine, who's another powerful creature in the game. I say creature because that's where I put him. Other practitioners. Talks about the various different places that magic is the source of and where they come from. Lords of Order and Chaos, bit of Hawk and Dove background. And here we get into some special characters. Constantine, Zatanna, Jason Blood, who has a model, if you can pick that one up. He gets to turn into Etrigan. Swamp Thing, Enchantress. And these are some of the characters that haven't been introduced yet, but hopefully they will come through. And this is where it talks about the different types of magical traits. Green magic, if the character's a ghost. Some of the different specials. This one's interesting. Looking forward to some vampire action. Night models, we want some vampires. And casting spells. And this is an important one here. That's available to everybody. This is available to everybody. And that is a rare nth medallion. Increases the difficulty by +4. 150. You only get one, but if you know that you're coming up against some magic wielders, it's probably worthwhile picking up the rare nth medallion for 150, which increases the difficulty by +4. I'm going through this in a little bit more detail than I would with the others because I don't quite know if this book is as available anymore as it used to be. So I'm trying to just sort of give everyone a bit of an opportunity to have a look. That's why I think it's going to be added later. So you see how you got the schools? So Divine Magic, which is different to Divination, creates magic light, power heal, Ectokinesis, ethereal form, ethereal charge. This is the Eldritch, the Exorcism, Occultism of Mr. Page, Necromancy, and the green. And this is the elemental that everyone has access to. So everyone can cast a magic bolt. Whenever you cast a magic spell or magic attack, it counts as the magic power, obviously, which means that you can do things like smack down invulnerable characters that have invulnerability and resistances. And these are the special ones. Not everyone has one, but most have a signature spell and some models. And some advertising. Because the Enchantress is going to hang around some Blackgate goons. Especially against those guys. So that's Magic in a nutshell. But the key takeaway point is that it happens inside the activation as opposed to a separate phase. You can cast each spell once. There's a difficulty for each spell and a penalty generally if you fail. And the schools that are available are listed in the trait section on the card. Pretty much it's all the same game. They can add a little bit extra to the power level because we're starting to get into some special areas, but it's still all manageable. Thank you very much. This was a very quick one today, coming back from some holidays, and just wanted to make sure that we went through some Magic, which, if you can get it, pick up this book. It comes with the cards that we just looked at before, which has all the spells, obviously. Thank you very much. I appreciate your listening and patience.